to John Day joining us, a veteran criminal defense attorney of John Day Law. Day, I'm sure that you're dancing up and down the hallway now. Psychotic break. First of all, I don't think a jury is going to buy psychotic break, that leading up to the moment she stabs Grandpa dead and then brags about it to police, by the way. She knew darn well what she had just done. She said, that was so easy. I can't believe how easy that was. I effing did him. Okay. A psychotic break, to my understanding, means you're fine up until a certain moment when you kill somebody. Then right after that, you're fine again.
Nancy, she's 35 years old, right? Apparently never had any contact with the police, no police record, no history of criminal behavior. She's worked with this family for a couple of years. Mom's a psychotherapist. You would assume that mom had some insight into behavioral issues. They trusted her with the infant for at least since she was born, apparently. So, I mean, what else happened? I mean, you've got police saying that there were some mushrooms maybe when she was arrested in marijuana. I've never seen a case where mushrooms in and of themselves led to some type of a violent murder. So there's an anomaly here and we don't know what it is. And if you're trying to defend this person who's charged with a horrific homicide, something is not right based on the fact that her 35-year history, she's clean. So if we talk about a psychotic break, there's something leading up to that. Was there other potential drug use we don't know about? Is something else going to come up? But also I want to look at what's the behavior now and what's the behavior while she's sitting in jail. And is there something here that somebody just obviously missed a sign, including mom, who's a professional therapist?
You know, we're putting a lot of the burden on the mom. So John Day joining me, did you just hear Samantha Booth online describing all of her issues? Somebody who said that? It was either Langle or Tom Green or probably Dave Mack said, she's got issues. Yeah, she's got issues. They're not mental defects. None of those issues, and she was very forthright with all of her issues: eating disorder, anxiety, no confidence in myself, boo-hoo, no confidence in myself, a walking panic attack, self-hating, self-loathing, tumultuous relationships. Okay, yeah. None of those are mental defects. None of them. You're going to be hard-pressed to use any type of a mental defect defense in this case because she's laying it all out there. If she's talking about that she drank too much, you don't think she'd blurt out on social media that she also did weed and mushrooms? Of course she would have. You know, when you don't know a horse, John Day, look at her track record. She's blurting everything there is to say about herself on social media. She doesn't mention a thing about weed or mushrooms, does she?
So Nancy, respectfully, I think you're missing the point. Everything that all these great people on this panel have said means that I want each one of them on my jury if I'm defending her, because what everybody's doing is using their personal experience. They're using their observations here. They're trying to figure out an unfathomable situation. And that's what I want my jurors to be doing. They're trying to use their own life experiences to come up with some reason, because it's hard to wrap your mind around what happened and why it happened. And if you don't have an easily graspable, understandable explanation for that, you're going back to your own life experience. You're going back to what you know about people. And what everybody on this panel is doing is coming up with things that might explain this away. And if I'm defending this woman, that's what I want my jurors to be doing. I don't necessarily care if there is a puzzle piece that fits perfectly in an explanation. I just want all of them thinking what everybody on this panel has just been doing, coming up with reasons, coming up with things that might fit into a rational explanation.
Before you finish your closing argument, let me stop you. Isn't it true that you said the jury will try to figure out what might have happened? Isn't the standard in criminal cases beyond a reasonable doubt? Not a hypothesis about what might have happened. Little green men from Mars may have beamed down and stabbed the grandpa dead. That may have happened, but it's not a reasonable hypothesis. So without information that she absolutely was on drugs, we don't have that. And following up, even if we did have that, assuming arguendo that we do find out she was on drugs, John Day, isn't it true that voluntary use of drugs or alcohol is not a defense?
Absolutely true. The voluntary use
Okay.
of drugs, yeah. But what you're doing is exactly what I want the jurors, again, to be doing, because you are trying to rationalize an irrational situation. And the beyond a reasonable doubt standard,
No,
that's
I'm
the
not.
official.
You
Well, that's
are.
the official.
You
That's the
and
official
Tom
standard.
Green and Alan Langle and Dave Mack are trying to rationalize an irrational situation, because to me it's very rational. Grandpa came home to check on the baby and he was stabbed dead with a screwdriver and he's unarmed. If she had gotten into magic mushrooms or some weed, that's on her. The law is very clear. Voluntary use of drugs or alcohol is not a defense, period. Now, in some
Absolutely
states
right.
and jurisdictions, you have, unless and until that person is comatose. But if you're comatose, you can't move and stab somebody with a screwdriver, so that's irrelevant here. So no matter which way you guys want to turn, you're going to have to accept that this woman, who you may think looks like your daughter or your sister or your mom, that she stabbed an unarmed senior just coming to check on the grandbaby, dead. John Day, I know you're not going to like this, but you have tried a lot of cases, and isn't it true the jury is not to be concerned about sentencing? They are to render a verdict that speaks the truth. And you guys don't like it because she's young, and to you guys, she's cute, and you can't imagine her committing a murder. So she's got to be insane or have a mental defect. He's already worried. He's already saying, Langle is already saying, she'll get life without parole. We can't do that to her. Oh, yes, you can.
No matter what the judge says, every juror considers the effects of a conviction one way or the other. And no matter, the judge is going to say, put that out of your minds. It's not your job. But the reality is, Nancy, we both know from doing trial work that that's not what jurors do. They have that somewhere in the back of their mind. So we can't pretend that they're not going to be thinking about that. But again, what everyone's doing is what if I was defending this case as a private lawyer or public defender, would be thinking about, would want the jury to think about.
Hey, Samantha, can you cover yourself and come to the window? Like the attorney said, this is going to happen whether you want it to or not. So we might as well just get it done with, okay?
He's trying to help you. He's laying on the floor at the moment,
Completely naked.
in the middle of the cell, with no clothes on.
John Day is joining us, veteran criminal defense attorney who founded John Day Law. John, do you have children?
I do.
Did you ever have one throw themselves in the floor and have a fit?
I'm sure it happened, but it may have been, age 2 or 3, possibly.
Yes, okay. Both of my children, one time, each one of them, Lucy and John David, flung themselves in the floor and had a fit. Kicking, screaming, yanking at their clothes, the whole thing. I just looked at them and walked off, and guess what? That worked.